Welcome to Starting Lineup for Week 36, the final week of the MLS season, with Andrew Wiebe finally returning from his vacation in Panama. I'm Jason Saghini. We have plenty to get to this week. We are going to start with the midweek action. Of course, there are a lot of Champions League games this week. Kansas City, San Jose, Houston, LA, all have games in the midweek. How, Andrew, is this going to affect them come the weekend?
Well, if you're an LA or Houston owner, don't worry. LA already has wrapped up that spot in the knockout stages. Bruce Arena is sure to bring that B team for that match. Houston, Dom Kinnear has made it clear that he does not value CCL over MLS, and they've got to go down to Panama. Now, it's beautiful, it's sunny, but I don't think you'll see a first team down there. The two to watch out for, though, are Kansas City and San Jose. San Jose, 2 games at home this week, CCL, MLS. Nothing to play for in that second one, but I think you'll see first teams. KC, probably the same. A mix of starters in the Champions League, and then probably that first team looking for possibly Supporters Shield against Philly.
Yeah, remember Houston Dynamo, they go their next game to D.C. Yeah. That's a game where they're going to be fighting for the playoffs. Of course, we've seen D.C. give up plenty of goals this season. They could be a team you want to look at this week. Another team you want to look at is Chivas USA. The first question comes in about them. I'll tell you why in a minute. Is there anyone on Chivas USA worth picking up because they have a double fixture week this week? They play Wednesday and then they play over the weekend, and the answer, of course, is negative. We're not looking at Chivas USA for anybody. I think what you really have to do here, Andrew, is look at who Chivas USA is playing. And they're playing Portland and Salt Lake, 2 teams fighting for the Supporters Shield.
Yeah, the usual suspects there, your Diego Valeri's, Darlington Nagbe's, Javier Morales, maybe Alvaro Sabrillo. But look, if you are desperate to get some double week action in there, maybe you go Edgar Mejia, maybe you go Eric Avila. We don't recommend it. No. You know, you make your own choices, though.
All right, we're going to move on to some administrative questions coming in from Kenna and Brooke. Kenna says, when will the playoff wild card be available? Brooke says, if we haven't used our regular wild card yet, can we use it in the playoff rounds? Take this, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, you can use that one if you haven't used it at any time, including the playoffs. But you're going to have plenty of transfers with which to build your team. You'll get a wild card before the knockout rounds. Remember, 4 teams in there, so you're really rebuilding your team. One thing to think about, maybe you sell some people this week. Maybe you build up that cap space. That will carry over, and that might be the difference between teams, especially since there will only be 10 to choose from as these playoffs go on.
All right, just one thing to note. It's not actually going to be the same way that the wild card worked earlier in the season. You're just going to have unlimited transfers after this week so you can set your team ahead of next week's midweek action. Next question coming in from Ryan Kiefer. He says, I have Deshaun Brown, Marco DeVio, and Camilo at forward. Nice stable you've acquired there. Should I play all 3, or should I add Lee Nguyen to my midfield and replace one of those forwards?
Look, I think you go with all 3. Deshaun Brown, 2 goals in 2 games against the Caps. He is on great form, and you have to remember, Colorado desperate for points to get out of the knockout round. Marco DeVio, same thing. 2 games against Toronto FC, 2 goals. He wants the Golden Boot. He wants to get his team into the playoffs. He's a guy to stick with, and I think the same goes with Camilo. He may not have anything to play for as far as the playoffs go, but that Brazilian forward wants goals. He wants the Golden Boot. Go with all 3. The question is, do you have somebody in the midfield you can pull for Lee Nguyen? That's really what you should be asking here.
Yeah, Lee Nguyen, 2 assists in his last match against Columbus. He didn't play in last week's match, of course, because he was suspended. Look, if you have Javier Morales and Diego Valeri and Darlington Nagbe and you can't fit him in there, you don't have to force it, but I would probably get Lee Nguyen into this game if you could. New England has a lot to play for in that game against Columbus. Moving on, Andrew, I want to get a couple players from you for the fans to look out for this week if you're picking up players and in need of points.
Yeah, I think the number 1 guy is easy. It's Tim Cahill. Massive game at Red Bull Arena. They got the Supporters Shield on the line against the Fire, and he has been their moneymaker in this late run in his last 6 starts. 8 or 9 points 5 times. A goal, 8 seconds in last week. He gets it done. He's going to get it done for you. He's certainly in my team. One other guy, we talked about that Chivas USA matchup. I think Nat Borchers for RSL is a great pickup for you if you're looking for a bargain on the back line. $5 million, the price is right. He is going to get points against them. You'd probably expect the shutout with Supporters Shield on the line, possibly for them as well.
All right, now we're going to take it to our final transfer matchup of the year. Marco DeVio, Robbie Keane are the top owned forwards in MLS Fantasy, but not everybody can own them both. So if you had to pick between the two, Andrew, Who are you going with? Both guys have road matchups. Montreal at Toronto, LA at Seattle. Who
Well, look, it's all about the level of reward. And for me, Robbie Keane is the one that's going to give it to you. I know there are concerns. I know LD's ankle is not at its best. But I still think he's the better bet in this game. 9 times this season, 9 weeks, he's had 10-plus points. Marco DeVio has just 4 of those. And although Seattle is great at home in front of these massive crowds, they've been bad right lately. 12 goals in their last 4 games, all losses. Robbie Keane is your man. I'd expect a big bonanza of points.
Andrew, I think you actually gave plenty of reasons why not to take Keane. His road form not that good. Seattle could turn things around in front of that big crowd that they've had success in front of. For me, Marco DeVio is the easy choice here. He's played against Toronto FC 3 times this year if you include the Canadian Championship. He has 4 goals against them. He scored in every game. So if you think Keane maybe has the upside, DeVio is the sure bet to get you big points this week. Maybe not as much upside, but definitely not as much downside either. DeVio, of course, going for the Golden Boot. Montreal needs the win in this game to avoid the knockout round. I say you go DeVio all the way.
Well, then it's a matter of whether you like to be safe in your cocoon or take risks. I know you out there, Team Wiebe, take the risk.
All right, we are wrapping it up for this starting lineup edition and, of course, for the year. But don't fret, we will be back next week on Tuesday with more fantasy advice, just not necessarily in this starting lineup segment. I'll still bring this point bonanza buffoon over here with me. I'm going to leave you with this. I'll give you one final transfer matchup to take a look at, and that, of course, is Team Saghini against Team Wiebe. All right, that's it for this edition of Starting Lineup. Of course, we're going to be back next year, and we want to know what you think. So let us know in the comment section below. What do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of? What did you like? Do you want to see a podcast? Do you want to see daily updates? Whatever it is, let us know in the comment section below. We'll see you again next year.